to welcome everyone to the July 11th, 2024 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. This meeting/hearings of the commission will be held in person at the main meeting room at Town Hall. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technical problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on the agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on BCAT, government channel, and BCAT's Facebook Live feed. All right, first item on the agenda is roll call. All right, just signify by saying present or here. Commissioner Kent Moffett.
Here.
Commissioner Indra Deb.
Here.
Commissioner Bill Boyven.
Here.
Commissioner Ed Laturco.
Here.
Commissioner Sarah Valinsky.
Here.
Commissioner Rob Sheehan.
Here.
And for the record, the Chair, Larry Cohen, is present. Next, we have approval of minutes of June 13th, 2024. All right, is there anything to discuss? Anybody see anything that they,
I made one correction, and
did.
it's already been corrected, so.
all right,
Wrong date in there somewhere, it's been fixed.
all right, and, okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes of June 13?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 700. Okay, the meetings of June 27th are not ready, correct?
Correct.
All right. Next, we have a request for extension to order of conditions.
Want to just formally check for public comments first?
Oh,
Just to
yes.
be,
Yeah, public comment
just to
period.
be,
Yeah, I should call for it, sorry. Is there anyone here online or in present who would like to talk about something not on the agenda? I don't think so. Nope, okay, the answer is no. No one for a public comment. Now we're on number 4, request for extension to order of conditions, Burlington Wetlands Permit, that's 43 South Ave, the Gutierrez Company, DEP file number 122-439. Is somebody here for that one?
I see that Scott is online, but I'm not sure if he was intending to speak today.
Well, let me ask you, did you unmute him? What if he's talking but we can't hear?
Oh, he can just unmute himself.
Oh, he can?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. All right. I don't see a raised hand, so I guess.
Good evening,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
This is Scott Weiss. I was here to listen in. I don't know that I have any necessary details to add beyond our request for an extension.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So Eileen, do you have comments for us on this one?
No, just in that we had a little bit of complication with this one earlier. This was originally an order that was approved in 2008 for work at 63, 43, and 50-something South Ave. Some of the work was done. You issued a partial COC. I believe that was the Keurig site. Part of the entire overall project site was undeveloped. That was 43 South Ave. It actually is the site of the parking lot, temporary parking lot, at least for Keurig at the moment, some of which is porous. They want to extend the order of conditions further. They did have an order of conditions for another building at that site. They would like to extend it yet again.
Because?
Because market conditions just have determined that it wasn't suitable for building a new building there right now.
I see. So part of the project hasn't been built, is it?
Correct.
Okay, do we have any questions from the commission?
I'm a little confused on one thing, extension to the order of conditions. If they haven't started the building, is the application the thing?
The original order of conditions was issued in 2008 for the whole 42, 43, 63, and 50 something.
I see, we had a plan in
So
front of us.
part of it
Yep.
was built.
Yep.
But then this remaining building didn't get built for whatever reason at the time, and now it just hasn't really been built because they haven't had
Got it.
a particular person, I think, that they wanted to design it for.
Received a
I'm
partial
assuming.
COC in 20.
It did receive a partial COC for the buildings that were built.
Okay,
So they do want to keep their options open
Yep.
to do this build. And they were hoping to extend rather than do a whole new application.
Right. Yeah, generally speaking, if there had been no work at all done and they request an extension, unless it's unusual conditions, it's a basis for not actually extending it, if the site has been touched. But in this case, it's like 2/3 of the project is done.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really fit that definition.
It's up to you as to what you think. It has been extended a lot, but, I mean, I think it is their property, and they have had good reasons for not doing the work up to now. Good financial reasons, market reasons.
And this would be for 3 years?
Yes.
Is there any reason to believe that an order that is that old is not protective anymore of the natural resources?
That is a good question, and it's one Lucy brought up just earlier today, because we were wondering about, all of the resources that would have been mapped at the time. That's pretty old mapping at this point. But I don't really have any reason to suspect that there would have been any great changes in that time.
In other words, for example, if the wetlands or the resources were substantially changed since that time, and this project might affect that,
I don't have any reason
should we ask,
think so.
should we take a look? We can always send them a friendly letter and suggest they do an amendment, if that's the case, if it was sufficiently different.
This is largely developed out there, and it is a parking lot at the moment, even though it's porous. So it's not like it's undeveloped property with, conditions that are changing.
Okay.
So
All right.
I just feel like it's a little bit different, but it's up to you if you want to discuss it further.
Yeah. Does anyone feel, given it's, what Eileen said is an already asphalt-developed area, it's unlikely conditions have changed sufficiently that we either need an amendment or a new application. Does anyone feel any different about that?
Nope.
All right, then in that case, could I have a motion to extend DEP file number 122-439-4363 South Ave of Burlington, Massachusetts, the order of conditions for another 3-year extension? Second?
Second.
All in favor? 700. Scott, I think you're all set.
Thank you very much, and very, very happy to have everyone out to the site. I think Eileen summarized it pretty well. It's all stabilized and complete. The work that was done previously and any future work is all within the limits of existing pavement and disturbed area.
Right, right. Well, I think by unanimous vote, I guess you have everyone in the commission agreeing.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Good night. Good night. All right. Next, we have requests for a certificate of compliance for Sunnyside Drive, filed as 6 Sunnyside Drive originally, to Maimuna and Raheel Shaikh. Are you here?
Oh, I forgot to share anything. Both of us did.
I hope I pronounced it correctly. I did. Oh, great. All right. So you sit over here so you have the microphone, so everyone can hear you. Repeat your names again and state your address. And if there's anything you do want to say, you're welcome to do that, of course.
I'm Maimuna Sheikh,
Hi, Rahel Sheikh.
And you live at,
4 Sunnyside Ave.
Yeah,
right,
It's
okay.
Ave. On the thing it said drive, but it's Ave.
Is it Drive?
No, it's
Ave.
Ave.
It's Ave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, good.
Just, yeah.
All right. All right. Do you want to say anything more about this at this point? You don't have to.
You can say what you talked to Mary about.
So we did try to apply for the certificate of compliance, and I do know that there's more information needed in our narrative and our as-built. But I think we came here to get some input and some just box checked off from you guys to make sure we're on the right path, and hoping that for next month we can have that officially approved. I mean, I guess, yeah, we can move forward and then speak on matters as they come up.
All right, thank you. Eileen, do you have comments? So a bunch of us were out there. Do you have comments on this one?
I do. Let me just make this bigger if I can. Okay, so what Mamuna is talking about is that I was a bit concerned about the as-built plan because I just felt it was kind of lacking. So just to remind you guys, this, I think it was before I started, but I think they subdivided number 6 Sunnyside and made this a new lot, a new buildable lot, in order to build the house and create a driveway access into it. They had to cross some wetlands, so therefore they had to replicate wetlands. They crossed about 880-something square feet of wetlands. What they had said, and it wasn't, these guys were not the ones who were the original proponents. What the original applicant said was that they were going to replicate around over 2,000 square feet of wetland, which was great. But then when they got on the ground and Mary Trudeau was the one who was going to help them with the wetland replication, there wasn't really enough room for that. In her emails to us, she estimated it was maybe 1,200 square feet, which is still well more than 1-to-1, so it's okay, but it wasn't, and it is what it is, because there really wasn't really anything more there. Some of my concerns were that in the as-built plan, we don't actually show the replication area, and we don't see the size of it. We don't have any distances from the house to the resource areas, which is pretty typical, and it doesn't show the shed. That's pretty minor, but there's just a few things that are lacking in this. So we decided together that they would go ahead and come here tonight because on the whole, we're pretty happy with how this has turned out. John Keeley came out with us a few days ago and he took a look at the replication. We're satisfied that the site is pretty lush. It's got wetlands plants in it. There's a couple of patches that are shadier and aren't doing very well, but on the whole, it's filled in pretty well. They have got, a nice row of rocks, and they've got some signs saying, please do not disturb. And they clearly haven't. They haven't touched it. It's really lush back there. The house is built as designed. We did give them some administrative approvals to make some tweaks to the driveway entrance just so they could make it a curve rather than a sharp right-hand turn. But everything has turned out well, and we are on the whole very happy with the result. I just feel like I would prefer a better plan.
Okay. Is there a bond still outstanding?
There is a bond. Did you guys pay it in the end, or did the...
We gave a
did.
check. We gave a
Yeah.
check.
Okay, well, in that case,
What was the answer on that one?
Give a check.
You gave a
they said
check.
they
Yes,
paid.
yes.
Let me just remind myself what it was. It's right here. It would have been
It was a 10,000.
Yeah.
10,000,
Yeah.
which is substantial.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
there was a replication involved, so.
Let me pose to the commission a question then. Given the large amount of the bond, which is very substantial, and that the resource area is doing well, things related to the wetland is doing well, and the replication, is there any reason why we can't approve the certificate and release the bond subject, everything else is done, subject to them changing the plan for our records? How does the commission feel about that?
Would you prefer to look at the plan and we review the plan again ourselves at the next meeting, or would you be okay with administrative approval? What way do you want to do that? If that
My
if everybody's
reaction,
going with it.
my suggestion to the commission is you allow Eileen to approve the plan with the changes, but we'll just have it on the agenda at the next hearing, if it's okay with these people, just to release the check, return the bond.
So you'd make them wait another month?
For the check,
Yeah.
or you want to release part of it?
I don't see why we can't release the whole thing and
Yeah.
approve the order of conditions, and then it's just administrative approval of the final plan.
Yeah, I guess
The work is done and done correctly.
if you're doing an administrative approval, why would you have to do at the
But-
next meeting?
But there's no, I mean, these people look very nice. However, my only question is normally we're holding something when something is due. Like, this is a situation, it's not the same, but similar to, we're waiting for the plantings to stabilize.
Right.
Okay, so this is not exactly the same situation. So I think, is it your point, Bill, that 10,000 is a lot of money?
Well, my point is that everything on the site has been done and done satisfactorily. The only thing missing is a piece of paper that isn't done correctly. So I have,
Just,
And a narrative, just
Yes.
Yeah.
summarizing some of the things that happened.
so I would not have a problem with closing it out tonight and letting these people submit it to Eileen and her follow-up as needed to see that it gets done.
Your formal approval
Is
is basically Bill's formal approval, and then you
now, I'll just point out, if they didn't do it, then we have no levers to do anything further.
True?
That's the risk.
Yeah, but it's not like we're
They did mention that.
expecting them to do something physically on the site, which to me would be
Correct.
much
It's the
more
paperwork,
significant.
just the paperwork.
Right.
I agree with you.
So I can comment in about
I'm okay with it. I'm just pointing it out.
So I was saying I could comment in about the missing information. So the hiccup that we ran into is our initial surveyors, while we were building the house, the business went out of business. So they were no longer familiar, our new surveyors are no longer familiar with how the land used to look versus how it is now. And so when he came out and he surveyed the new land, I think he just grouped in the new replication with the existing wetland, and he was unaware what was the new replication area. We spoke with our scientist. She did assure me that it was a minimum 1-to-1 replication with 894 square foot of replication, which Eileen is aware of. It's also written in her reports that she's been doing for the last 3 years. So they did make a plan for, at the end of this month, for our scientists to come in and stake out the new replication area, and then for our surveyors to follow up and size that to incorporate that into the plans.
So you have a new surveyor, in other words.
Yes.
Is this going to cost you substantially more money than you planned to do this?
It's already has.
It already has.
I mean, we really didn't have an option, so.
So it's kind of like a done deal.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's how we came up with
Yeah.
these plans, is we had to find the new surveyor.
So, sorry to hear that. Okay. All right. Let's show the will of the commission then. Eileen, do you have a comment before we?
Only just that, Maimuna just reminded me, part of the reason why they haven't come for a COC until now is actually because you had required them to get a monitoring report done every year. They may possibly have missed a year at some point, but Mary Trudeau has been out there and has monitored and has reviewed the site.
Not to
has-
mention, it looks very good.
And has provided some reports.
All right. Do you, before we do something here, do you object to, on the basis of what the discussion has been, releasing both the bond and issuing the certificate?
No, I think it's underway. I think I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to double check before we went rogue on you. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for Sunnyside Ave, DEP file number 122-579?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 700. Okay. Next, is there a motion to release the full amount of $10,000 bond or check to the applicant for Sunnyside Drive for DEP file number 122-479, based with the understanding that some additional information on the plan has been required?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? 700. You're all set?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, really appreciate it.
All right, so you'll work with the office, Eileen and Lucy and so forth, to just
Get the information out.
get the information needed.
Thank you.
All right,
All right,
thanks.
thank you. Thank
Have a good evening. Okay. Next is, I believe, was item 6, but it has been postponed. It was a request for certificate of compliance for erosion and sedimentation control permit for 25 and 27 Blue Sky Drive, which used to be known as Network Drive. It's by the Nordblum Company, and it was the construction of a commercial office and laboratory building and site improvements at 1525, 45, and 95 Network Drive. So since it's only a request for a certificate, we do not need a vote. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
I had to think about that there for a second. Yes.
All right. Okay,
Yeah, they're still working on their landscaping.
right.
So,
Okay, so let's move this along. We have planning board comments. Anything for the planning board?
I think they had also issued an extension for 43 South Ave
Yeah.
recently, so I can just tell them that too, but that'll be fine.
All right. Subcommittee and staff reports. Is there anything on that?
I guess not official. We're having some unofficial for now meetings that everybody will find out more about,
As soon as the date's set.
including the one about the trails.
Okay.
Well, actually, we can mention that because that's sort of official.
Well, you can either do it under other business, or you can mention it.
That's true. I do have some other business to quickly run through with people anyway.
Yep.
Larry had got in touch with the trail people that,
Mystic Link Trail Alliance people.
and we've organized a meeting with them to just get in, they want an idea about what's here, we want an idea about what they're talking about, what they're offering.
Yeah, what they're looking at is, I guess they have a layout and a partially completed trail going from Andover all the way into Boston. And they call it the Mystic Link. I'm kind of interested to see what this really looks like, but aside from that. But they're also very interested in looking at spurs, they call them spurs, that go in different directions where you can connect to that. They have mentioned in the original discussion, they mentioned Mary Cummings Park, and they mentioned Mill Pond Conservation Area as two areas that they noticed of interest. Then we told them that there is some knowledge on the commission and on the staff about other trails that may or may not be of interest, and they said, oh, really? Okay, and they said, and the commission at the last meeting, and I know Ed wasn't there, we talked about inviting them in to talk about the Mystic Trail and all that. But then some other commissioners said, well, or somebody said, maybe we should have a pre-meeting, like a discussion, so that we can inform them of what's available, and they can inform us a little bit more about what their thinking is, and then they will schedule them on the agenda for a future meeting. Does that summarize it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, right now, we're zooming in on, not zooming, we're have a date scheduled for August 2nd at 12:30. Okay, and we're going to have sort of a roundtable discussion, and we wanted to let the commission know about it. It's about trails in Burlington, and I'll be interested in that discussion because I'll probably find out, every time you have a discussion like this, you find out something new you didn't know. And I'll be interested more about hearing a little bit more about this Mystic Link Trail. The original discussion where they told us about it was held as a featured event at the library. Were you there, Bill? No? Okay, they had a featured event at the library, and it was not particularly well attended. I thought it might have been, but it will get a little bit more airtime as they get invited to a commission meeting.
Okay, I'll send, one of us will send out just a note to everybody a bit before it, just to say, remind you, it's on August 2nd at 12:30 if anybody else wants to join. Okay?
And would you confirm with them too, just to reconfirm?
I just saw that Joy did. I'm not sure about what the other guy
Bruce.
did. Bruce.
Yes.
But I will. Once we have that nailed down, I'll shoot something out to
I
everybody.
noticed Alan French did not respond at all.
Oh, was he on the chain? Okay.
I think he was. He is the original charter members of the Bay Circuit Trail, which some people may have heard of, which goes around 128. Okay. Eileen, are we ready for other business?
If everyone's okay with that. So did I actually email out the enforcement order? I kind of don't think I did. Sorry.
I got a copy, oh, I know, not the enforcement.
So Sarah actually spotted something at 171 Cambridge Street a few days ago, which she alerted me to, and I went to see. And the new property owner had decided that it was kind of wet out there, and, you know, water was washing back into the parking lot, so he...
Where is 171? Can someone orient us?
Denomi Plumbing, your Wynn and Cambridge.
Papagino's, near there, beside there. So he had dealt with this wet patch by applying quite a lot of stone. But as you can see, well, you probably can't see it very clearly there. There's, this is either partially wetland or it's the edge of wetland. There's Phragmites there at the edge. So I issued an enforcement order asking him to stop, remove the stones, and have this delineated so we can see whether it actually is wetland or no disturb or what we're talking about, and if necessary, submit a restoration plan. So he initially misunderstood me and started taking out the stones today, which I freaked out a little bit at because I was afraid they were going to have machines, but they didn't. They were just taking that by hand. So no harm, extra harm has been done. Just wanted to let you know that that is one thing we did, and I'm hoping that you are okay with that enforcement
Did you
order.
tell him we were not asking for the stone to be removed quite yet?
I did, but I sent that. He was very, very, very quick off the mark, which is kind of good. I mean, it's good to have responsive people. But I sent an email yesterday, and what did I say? 21 hours
It was
later,
like 16. Crazy.
I sent him a note at 8:30 this morning saying, please don't do it. Don't remove those stones just yet. Have it looked at first. But he came back to me a couple of hours later saying, oh, we're already working on stones, like within less than a day.
Guilty as charged, we'll take care of it.
We'll take care of it straight away. Oh, okay. So he's working on it. He's shocked at how much it costs to have a wetland scientist potentially do a restoration plan. But, okay. Do you want to vote to ratify the...
Enforcement order?
Yeah. I did sign it and I issued it. Yeah, I think it's typical that you just vote to accept that, right?
Right.
Ratify?
Right. Let's talk about it a moment before we take a vote, which we'll just do final. Any questions or at all on this situation?
No, we were in that area before, right? On the other side, I think. What's that street?
Terry Ave.
Terry Ave.
17 Terry Ave. You have dealt
To
with...
the left, and so this is just the other side of the stream, basically?
Yes, it is, exactly. You're right, the
Okay.
other side. Do you want me to pull up a map? We can do that.
I'm wondering, before they, you know, of course, it is expensive to hire a wetland scientist. I'm wondering, is there a way of doing, like, with a little hand core, could we just tell if the wetland soils are hydric and then say, yes, it looks like you should have it, or no,
That's what the wetland scientist is going to do.
that's what they would do?
I mean, there's a lot of stones there right now. I don't really want to go messing around under them.
Yeah,
I would prefer somebody else.
Right.
He gets an actual professional in to do
Okay.
this. Now, he did say, another good thing about what he did is there was also an awful lot of rubbish out there. Mattresses, like stacks of pizza boxes that people just throw from behind the pizza place, shopping carts, all sorts. So that's all gone. So that's good.
That's good.
Clothes.
Okay, so you think the best approach is let them hire somebody and tell us what the situation is?
But the way we left it this morning was, I accepted that that is a lot of money, so I suggested that he get somebody out to take a look and just see what the wetland situation is, and then we'll proceed further if he needs a restoration plan.
So he was mostly concerned with the cost of a restoration?
Sounded like it.
Yes, and he didn't really understand why we would be worried about wetlands, I think.
Oh,
Well, they're wet, they're dirty, messy.
it's just
Get the
wet?
water out of there.
He
Just-
wanted to get the water out of there, exactly.
Right, we need to fix that.
He had just fixed it, exactly.
Okay, all right, well, see how it develops, I guess. Any questions before we vote? Could I have a motion to ratify the enforcement order to, who was issued to?
Oh, God, thank you. Oh, I can find his name for you, one second.
Well, that's all right, to the owner of 171
Piyush Batari, something like that.
Piyush Patari, 171 Cambridge Street?
Yes.
171 Cambridge Street. Second?
Second.
All in favor? 700. Okay, it's ratified. All right, next.
Okay, the next thing is, I guess it's Creston Ave. We got a notification, and a butter notification from the Board of Appeals for a tear down and rebuild at 5 Creston Ave. And what I actually didn't send you or show you is the plan, which I can pull up. But basically, they're going to tear down that single-family house that you can see there on the left-hand side photograph and replace it with one that's wider so that the new house would go almost all the way to the right-hand property line, which is where your conservation area is. It's not a wetland directly in there, but it is conservation, it is your area, you do manage it, and I'm concerned about just the proximity and the fact that being so close, first of all, they're going to be concerned about trees leaning over into their lot, and they're going to start potentially wanting us to take down trees. Any trees that are, luckily there aren't too many, but any trees that are pretty close to the lot line are probably going to be damaged by construction, by either the foundation itself or by working very close to the trees. There's already that shed that you can see in the distance there, that's already,
Where is the shed? Is it in the lower left of the picture?
Yeah, you can look at this.
you can see it, hang on, I'm just going to show you with the, there in that picture.
Okay, that is that
And
one.
it's also, oh my God, my mouse is moving so slowly.
In there,
It's
okay.
also there.
Okay.
And that shed is on conservation property.
It appears to be, yes. Yeah. Now, I don't know that the people who built this house did it, because when you look at older aerials, that shed's been there for a long time.
Does the new plan have that shed being removed?
The new plan shows the shed is outside the new,
So it's not dealing
lot
with it.
line. I don't think it is. Why don't I find the plan for you while you're chatting about it for a minute?
All right. All right, so do they give a reason why they want to go closer than the 15-foot zoning setback?
No? All we got was the notification, really. Because
All
it's
right.
convenient.
So let's see what people think. Kent, anything, or Indra on this? No. Bill?
It's obvious that they want to put in a house of a certain size where it doesn't fit within the boundaries that are, defined. There's plenty of room to expand the house front to back of the lot if they wanted to make a bigger house. So I don't see the need to, extend into the boundary, the setback area from conservation land. And as Eileen pointed out, they're going to be damaging roots of the trees, and then the trees will fail, and they'll want the trees taken down because it's threatening their house and their kids or whatever. I think it should not happen. And I would like to see personally, as part of the approval for the house construction itself, that the shed be removed. We could allow them on the property to do that, if they'd be willing to do so.
Okay. On this side, Ed, or anything, Sarah?
I would just echo what Bill said. I don't see any reason why the aspect ratio couldn't go the other way of the house and have a giant house that just was skinny this way and wide front to back. Have a big house, but not be, the chain of events, which will definitely lead to, we've got to take these trees down in
No,
a
but
few years.
the thing is, if
Yeah,
I can-
Indra?
right now, the building would be inside the property line.
Right.
So, do we have the jurisdiction to tell them anything right now? Since there is no violation, there is nothing. When they will come...
Well, it's a zoning violation, and so their application was rejected by the building department. That's why they're going to the appeals. And we are an interested party because we are next door to them.
Yeah, but there is nothing to do with us right now. It's with the
The only
zoning.
thing we could do now is, as an abutter, someone of us or Eileen or show up at the zoning board of appeals
Right.
at their hearing and state our case. That's all we
Correct.
can do.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, you done?
Yes.
Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of like, if the current primary structure is in compliance zoning, there's not, I don't see why there would have to be an exception for that 5 feet. And it does seem like there might already be, depending on where that corner line is, something like with the shed, there's something a little bit over the line currently anyway.
I don't know if they're currently over it, but they're just,
It's hard to tell, yeah. I was just looking at the aerial image. I haven't seen this.
well, the lines on an aerial
Yeah,
probably shouldn't.
they're at an angle, yeah, so I don't want to, that looked a little confusing, but I think it would be, it does seem like if, yeah, I'm not sure what the reasoning is for the, for the exception if
It's
current
probably
structures.
they want a certain size house, and they want to maximize the size of the backyard,
Yeah.
and so they want to go left to right.
Plus, there are certain, I think, pre-established plans that developers have used, and they say, pick from one of these, and they pick this one and plunk it on the lot. And not designing a house that fits on the space that's available.
Say it again?
No, but still they can put that house in the other direction.
But then can you enter the driveway and all that stuff? you
But
know?
then you're fixing, to fix one problem, you're creating another. Like Bill hit the nail on the head. So basically, you basically extend the property or the house out this way. But to your point, now you're basically, like, forget about, I mean, not saying the setbacks aren't important, but the setbacks are there for a reason. And now you're going into like tree roots, and to your point, you're gonna get other problems. Now you're gonna like, the house is gonna meet this, but then you're gonna like, compromise trees, and now you're gonna be in the same situation where you're gonna have tree issues over, so it's like, to fix one problem, you're creating another set of problems. And I just,
And as an abutter, we have a right to express our displeasure with the plan.
what's the, this question for Eileen, what's the normal process? Maybe Larry would know, you guys would know, like, have you seen this in the past? Like, where this, I haven't seen this many times before.
I mean, at the zoning board of appeals?
Yeah, like, have you guys gone before? Has there been, like, when John
No,
was?
but it's similar to what we do. I mean, they have a meeting and they present plans.
Oh, no, I meant more like, just to, like you said about an interested party.
Usually hardship plays a major role in terms of making their decision. It's hard, we don't have all the details, but it's hard for us to see hardship in this particular case. In other words,
Oh, yeah, I meant more like if you were to say, like, to make a case to Bill's point, like, does Eileen go to the meeting, or is there
Yeah.
somebody from, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be similar to us. Do any butters have a comment? And then we say, yes, I have a comment, and I don't want you to vote this way because,
Gotcha.
so.
Gotcha.
Does the Board of Appeals get more than what we're looking at when they go in with the Board of Appeals? Is there a diagram of where this house is going to be?
there's a plan. Isn't there a plan?
That
Yeah.
plan.
Well, that's it. It's just a rough footprint.
Is a set.
Just showing where the footprint is.
Well, I presume they get this plan, that this was,
Is that the one that shows a 5-foot setback
Yes, it
instead of
does, yeah.
15?
so the area where the signature is, that's Little's Brook Conservation Area.
Are they asking for a deviation on the other side as well?
No, that's 15.
I'm pretty sure zoning board will not.
So they meet the zoning setback on the other side?
Right.
When you have the space.
Right, unless there is, as Eileen said, some
All right.
hardship involved.
There is,
And I don't see why you would.
Turn the darn thing.
there's also another,
Then you get access to your garage issues. You have to redesign the garage, you put it in a different part of it. It can be done, there's no
I've seen,
question.
there's a house in my neighborhood where they did that.
Oh, yeah?
They just
So
had
they
it.
already have a garage with their
Skinny
current
lot.
footprint. They already have a garage with their current footprint.
Right, but I mean, if you took the exact plan with the garage coming in the front and you turned it sideways, it might not work for the garage being there. I mean, you have to redesign the house to fit the existing lot. And there are plans that show the house, the driveway coming in from the end of the house as well.
odd drive through the living room. There's also, I'll point out, there's another phenomenon that has not been mentioned. We have owners of property who want to take down trees. Not necessarily because the tree is visibly damaged. Not necessarily because, the thing is about to fall down, it's not growing straight, okay? It's because some people, I think we, and it's just a personal opinion, have an irrational fear of a branch potentially from a healthy tree falling down, and they're worried that the wind is just going to take it over, even though there's nothing to indicate that, like a hardwood tree is going to necessarily come down easily. And it's almost like an irrational fear of a low probability event. So sometimes it's not because the tree has been damaged, not because the tree is dropping branches, not because the trunk is cracked. It's simply because it's an irrational fear that with a low probability of happening, it could come down in a windy day. And so when you're that close to the edge of where trees are, that could also happen.
Yep.
That'd be the next step. That's what's going to happen.
So, do we want to issue a letter to enter into their record as well?
I think that would be a better idea.
Official position of us as a commission?
Sure. I mean, it's going to be a hearing, and we're in a butter. We should reference the fact that we are in a butter, and it's conservation area, and that these are the issues we see, and...
Primary issue would be the disturbance of the roots of our trees.
Right.
I would think.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to dwell on a rational fear of trees.
No. Arborphobia, or whatever it's called.
Arborphobia. Okay, Bill.
I don't know if I made that up or not, but I like it. But I mean, that is, it has a direct, could have a direct impact on our property. And it is, correct me if I'm wrong, Eileen, but it is the commission that has oversight of the property and not the staff, correct?
Right.
So the letter we should have some input from the commission.
Oh, yes, that's,
Okay.
yes. Well, that's why I brought it to you, so
Yeah.
you can discuss whether you want to do anything at all. Do you want us to appear at the Board of Appeals meeting? Do you want us to write a letter? That was, we haven't had this before that I'm aware of.
Right, right.
You need a certain time frame, like if
The meeting is next Tuesday.
No, I know that, but I'm saying, like, do you have to have, it seems like a tight turnaround for a letter, is there something with open meeting, or does it, you submit it up? Like, to notify the people that you're gonna, the Board of Appeals that you're gonna be showing up, like, do you have to have it 2 days in advance?
To notify the Board of Appeals that we're going to be at the
Say
meeting.
you could show up as a butter, you don't have to, like, notify.
Oh, I don't
Same
think
as
so.
us, they just show up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
It's been publicly, I mean, since we received the notification,
Oh,
I
okay.
presume it's
Right.
publicly, it's been posted.
Right.
The meeting is, it's on.
Yeah, I think is, I think it might be good if you, perhaps if you go, I don't know if everyone agrees, to ask Eileen to go.
I think that would be ideal, yeah, if you were willing.
And I'm wondering if, I don't feel a burning desire that I have, I think we should perhaps read the letter into the record and then give it to them to enter into the record. We could do that, or we could send it ahead of time.
I would send it ahead of time so they know it's coming. Another thing that I just thought of is if you're 5 feet from the line, you're not going to fit construction vehicles in there to build that side of the house without going onto the conservation
Which is
property.
part of what I'm more concerned about with the root damage. It's not even just from the foundation.
Right,
It's from the,
right.
it's from the entry. They'd have to do everything around the other side, or what?
They'll say they can go through the other side, is what they'll say.
And if they can, then okay, that's better.
I don't know,
Yeah.
5 feet is not much space.
So this would not, just so you know, this would not require a wetland permit, as far as I know, but it would require a stormwater permit. Now, we do not typically put any restrictions in stormwater permits about things like access, but I think under the circumstances, we could, since that's our property next door. We could say, erosion controls are going down that side, and all access must be via the, whatever that north, south, east, west is. I wasn't paying attention. Once we get to that point, I'm just telling you. If Board of Appeals lets it go ahead.
Are you able to go to it?
I can go, I might be doing it online, I'm not sure, because it's,
Okay.
I'll see on Tuesday. I'm not in tomorrow, so this letter will probably get drafted on Monday,
Okay.
unless somebody else wants to do it.
And we'll try to get it out Monday, is that the idea?
That- Yeah,
All right. Is there anyone else in the commission want to
you can see the shed,
offer
by the way.
your presence as well?
There.
To go?
You see it?
I finally know what shed you're talking about.
All right.
You see there?
It's ironic, the house to the right is elongated to their property.
It is a little bit.
Curious.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, don't you want to match the house next door?
We could be best friends.
Not a single tree.
1995.
Yeah, I don't see any trees on that lot.
No.
All right, so I didn't, if you decide you want to go, you're certainly, it's an open meeting, you're welcome to attend.
Well, I will, I'm just not sure, if you want me to, but I'm just not sure whether I'll be in person or whether I'll
That's
just do it
fine.
online. That's what I mean.
I will try to attend in person, okay, as well.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, so could we plan on, perhaps you should talk, if you're going to attend in person, I think maybe you should offer comments,
Okay, yep.
if that's okay. Okay, I assume they'll echo whatever we put in writing, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you want me to say something instead, let me know.
okay.
I'll be there just to smile, I guess, in case they have a further question. All right, is there anything else?
There is one more thing, and I think that Kent is going to be pleased. He's going, what could this be?
Oh, boy.
We went back out to 127 Bedford Street.
Oh.
Do you remember we had issued an enforcement order because the work just really was so slow, it just wasn't getting done. There were issues. So we've been, well, okay, I've been, but Lucy and I were there twice actually so far, I think. It's looking a lot better. They've greatly expanded the gravel trench that was going to take a lot of the driveway runoff. The neighbor next door, remember, was concerned that there was still water kind of coming under the fence. There's a lot of gravel there now, including deep enough that it's actually covering the bottom of her fence. So hopefully that'll keep anything but a minor trickle, perhaps, from going into her yard. It looks like there's plantings in the gravel, but there is soil there too.
Does that trench end up in the wetlands down the back?
It does. So, where's my mouse gone? Sorry. Well, anyway, in the center picture there, you can see how the gravel trench is kind of actually going right into the wetland. Sorry, not just the wetland, the rain garden. So there's the rain garden in the front, and then there's the wetland in the back that they let mostly naturalize. And they did plant some trees, and that's come up really well. They did quite a lot of plantings there. There's a lot of like Phragmites. That's looking pretty good. I mean, there are places, definitely the grass is still pretty patchy. Apparently the homeowners weren't really watering super well, but he's been trying to get them to make sure they actually water that so that that grass starts to really get in place. But it's definitely looking like much more like it was supposed to. Rain gardens in place, and I mean, I think we can consider the enforcement order basically complete, or whatever it is you say for an enforcement order. So I thought you'd be concerned because I know
No, that's
you've
good.
asked
You
about this.
haven't heard anything from the neighbors, right?
We haven't heard from them just lately, so hopefully they're seeing improvements now. I mean, it is a wetland back there, including in the neighbor's house. In the neighbor's backyard, should I say. But there was a lot of water running off, so I understand that concern too.
It's been quite a while, quite a long time, this
It's been
project.
a very long time.
In the property in back,
6-7 years?
there was an issue with the property in back.
Yes.
They have a catch basin on their property, and the water somehow, they put in a sports court.
Sport court.
And the water was cut off. And they were complaining about the water too. Well, yes, you cut off the water by putting in your sports
They
court.
very much caused some of that trouble.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if they cured the problem? Because that area is supposed to have some drainage.
That is a good question. When we were there recently, you can look over the fence, and there is a funny-looking hole there right now. I haven't written them a letter or an email to see what that is, but it did look like maybe they were trying to do something. Not sure what, though. If you want, I can follow up with them to see where they stand.
Yeah, maybe,
I think that would be reasonable.
I mean, they didn't have an enforcement order to do it,
They didn't,
but they were in a butter complaining about water from the property in back of them, which is the...
and they did do the trench work, sort of, it was like friendly enforcement, you might say.
They're going to put a trench around the...
Which they did, and I'm not sure.
Which would reinstate the trench.
Right,
that-
hopefully.
Which I think we looked at, but there's definitely a hole there now, so
The hole where?
right behind the fence and between the fence and the sport court.
Oh. So you don't know if it continues all the way to the catch basin?
Well, it's literally just a hole right now, it's not a trench. Why don't I connect with them too? But that's it, I wanted to end on a high note, that was a good thing, that they're actually finally looking
Right.
fairly good there after, what, 7 years or something, 6 years?
Well, what I'm thinking of is if the Callahans next door still have water, if that water in back isn't draining into the catch basin as it was intended, because they didn't construct the channel, then that could be the reason.
Right, well, that won't be taking all the water because it is a wetland there, but it should be taking, at least dealing with some of the water around the
The
sport
fence.
court.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a weird. Every time I drive by that, I'm like,
What's that?
the whole front yard is brick.
Completely paved.
I can imagine, it's like, we redid our front, and that was probably more brick than that. I've never, every time I drive by it, it's like, you look up, you're like, the whole front yard is brick. It's not even like concrete, it's like actual.
Hardscape. No,
I'm finished with all my updates, by the way.
Well, it doesn't need to be watered because it's not growing.
Guess they don't like grass.
Easy care.
Well, I guess that's obvious, probably. All right, so you'll keep us posted on that one?
Yeah.
Thanks for the update. Thanks for the update.
All right, anything else?
Not for me.
Anyone on the commission?
I had one item. I did talk to Brian White, DPW, about gaining access to the walkway that goes out behind the Islamic Center to that platform. And he said, just let him know when we want to go, and he'll arrange to have the gate open. There is a gate there. It does have a padlock. I did go out there to see how the access was, because Brian didn't seem to know exactly what the status was at the time. So I told him there's a chain link fence and a gate.
Right.
with a
Is this for
padlock.
potential trail
Well, we
stuff or
want to
just
go look
general?
at the area, we're talking about trails in
Yeah.
that area and access to that point. It would be nice to turn that into a viewing, a natural viewing platform if it's no longer needed for pumping water. It's a perfect spot for that. If you can then get access to it, we'll get some feel for what it might involve. But he said he would be happy to just get us out there.
All right. Do we want to schedule something in August?
We could.
I think we call this a field trip.
The, what's the August 2nd date? That's 10 o'clock in the morning? That meeting?
Oh, the August 2nd one is like 12:30
12:30?
on the Friday.
I was thinking if we made that meeting afterwards, just
Well,
have a field trip or do it another time later in
we
the day.
could do it as part of the site visits.
As a site
on
visit on a Wednesday? Yeah,
Wednesday,
yeah,
August 9th.
yeah. And then have it, yeah, that would work.
Why don't we sort of put it on our agenda?
Depending on how many other things we have.
Yeah, if there's not too many
If
things,
there's not too many, we could add it in, yeah.
we could add it as a, otherwise we'll just wait for the next time, I guess.
Well, hopefully, summer is often a little bit slower, so,
Yeah, been pretty slow the last couple of meetings, so.
yeah. Maybe Dukes for site visits, okay.
Okay, before we adjourn, do we want to talk a little bit about the bylaw? Did we talk about that? The upgrade to the bylaw and the regulations, how we're making changes, and
Well,
we're going to
no,
bring...
just because we were going to meet on Wednesday. I mean, we can,
Then bring it.
I didn't want to, put the cart before the horse. Well, we can say, though, so as you guys know, John Keeley has been, sort of remained on in a very part-time situation as like a consultant for us, and he's just answering a bunch of questions that I have. But he's also been working on our stormwater bylaw. As all of you know, it's very long, very detailed, very comprehensive, originally written by Larry and then tweaked at various times along the way by various of us. But what we were trying to do, now that John actually has a little bit of time, is to flip it so that the bylaw is much more typical of a bylaw in that it's just very kind of bare bones saying, this is what we're basically...
Gives authority.
Gives authority, right, exactly, and to move most of the detail into regulations, and that would give us a little bit more flexibility to tweak the regulations along the way as we see as we determine are needed, and that means that only you have to approve changes to the regulations. It doesn't have to go to town meeting. It's cumbersome and it's time consuming.
There are existing stormwater regulations?
That's actually an interesting question, though we might have to change the name or something, because the Board of Health has stormwater regulations. So we can't really have two things called exactly.
Do we have stormwater regulations?
No, we
That's
just
what
have
I
the
thought.
bylaw,
We have the
which is
bylaw.
super detailed.
And
that's it. We want to move the detail into regulations.
so,
So John has drafts for both of those, and initially, Larry and Bill were just going to thrash it out between the four of us just to see these are at least good enough to send to you guys for a more detailed look. Does that work for everybody? Are you guys okay with that? Or do you want to be in right from the ground floor?
well, they're going to get another copy. I mean, this is,
We're going to be talking about it for a little while.
well, yeah, this will be on for a while. There's probably no reason to, this is to get a good enough copy so they.
That's
wait-
basically what it was.
so they
We were
don't
just
waste
going to
their
make a
time.
start.
That was the whole idea.
Town
Okay.
meeting would approve the bylaw, and then to get the regulations approved, we would have public hearings over 6 or 8 meetings, usually, when we've done it in the past. Just continue and offer people the opportunities to come in
Right.
and comment, and finally put together a package, and which would be approved only by us, not by town meeting, it's regulation.
But it's a public hearing.
But it's a public hearing, correct?
Right, and the intent wouldn't be to bypass anybody by not going to town meeting. It's just that if we want to make a very small change,
Well, the thing is, if we find stuff that
months
doesn't,
and months.
if we find stuff that doesn't work, you have to go back to town meeting.
right, and it takes
Like,
forever.
You know,
Right.
if there's a threshold that it doesn't work for this town, and you got to change it to something more pragmatic.
Right.
You just can't do it easily.
Right.
Yeah, or something simple like the definition of 100-year storm changes or whatever, you know, if it's in the bylaw, you got to go to town meeting to change that number.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know, you don't have to if it's in the regulations.
correct.
Okay, so that's ongoing, and you guys will see it, and I don't think I'll be available for the January town meeting, but that's fine. I don't need to be. If other folks are willing to go, if you're willing, you'll be there anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sarah and I will be there anyways.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, and any other commissioners that want to go. All right. Okay. Yes.
The sidewalk on Blanchard,
Yep.
the pathway that comes out of Oracle that meets Blanchard, as it was coming down towards us,
Yeah.
it looks like they detoured it, so the water's not going to hit the road. It's now going to follow the bike path now on the
The
inside.
water, you think the water's going to follow the bike path?
That's always where all the water's coming
Well,
from.
Remember, they're not finished yet, so whatever your concerns are, hopefully we can address them. So you approved the sidewalk, and it is going to have a trench inside it, like a gravel trench?
That's what I'm looking at now.
All right, so the water, yes, effectively it will be like a
Staying
conduit,
inside.
but it should itself take quite a lot of the water. And we actually have a catch basin in there now, closer to your property, whereas before it was just open to
Yep.
the stream. Disgusting. So at least there's a little bit of something. So are you still concerned though, or does that allay?
I wasn't sure if that was the plan, because that's where all the water was coming from, was that path that overloaded those drains. That was half the problem. Now they resolved that.
Which path? Are you talking about the Oracle path?
The Oracle path, paved path. Water just comes down like a river.
Hits the street and then comes around the corner?
Yeah, and then it hits the corner drains, it just all backs up.
I think we were all clear about the way it was going to work when we approved it, when you approved it, but we'll make sure we understand exactly where it's going
It looks like
Just so that it's
they're gonna do
all
that.
gonna be fine.
I can't confirm that's
Okay.
exactly the plan.
Yeah, Lucy's already had a nice little field trip out there with Steve Hildreth, so she ain't either like that. She'll get all the info for you.
All right, anything further? Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor? 700. Good evening.